Babbel is a language learning program that claims that using it for 15 hours is equivalent to an entire semester in college. And I wanted to know, is that true actually? So I went and looked up the Babbel efficacy study, where basically they had two groups of people, one in New York City, one in Berlin, that had them take a Spanish placement test that would put them in a semester. Then they did 2 months of Babbel, and then they retook the test to see what semester they'd be placed in. And one thing that stuck out to me straight away is that a lot of these people in this study put in more than 15 hours, right? Like, on average, it was a little under 20 hours for the Berlin sample and a hair above 18 hours for the New York sample. And on average, that's more than 2 hours per week, right? So a lot of these people are putting in work, right? It's not like they're playing a game for 3 minutes and then putting it down. And a bit later in this paper, they say that Babbel users need about 21 hours to cover a full semester of Spanish. So where is this 15 number coming from? And it turns out this 15 number is coming from the true novice, right? The people that score 0 on their initial placement test, right? Those people are making bigger strides on average, and they need about 15 hours. And this makes sense to me, right? It's like Pokemon. Like, it's easy to go from level 1 to level 2, but it's harder to go from level 51 to 52. In fact, for the people who didn't improve their scores, one possible explanation that they give is that they're more advanced in Spanish, right? So it takes more time to inculcate these new concepts. Either that or they just didn't study as much. So now I'm looking at this 15-hour claim and thinking, it's a little smelly, right? It's a little fishy. It's a little misleading. Like, 15 hours was shown as the average for people who didn't know Spanish and put in, on average, 2 hours or more a week into Spanish. But not everyone's going to know that or be aware of that when they're diving into this. And on top of that, it's not like the next 15 hours is another semester's worth of improvement, right? Like, a lot of people are probably going to slow down at some point. And the fact that this study was done with Spanish is also significant, because Spanish was chosen in part because it's already a lot of research done with learning Spanish on the apps. And not every language is represented adequately on digital spaces, right? The apps or otherwise. Like, Spanish has a lot of resources put into it, and your Spanish course might be good, but that doesn't mean that your digital Ilocano class is going to be good, right? And if your Ilocano class is less effective or less robust, then it might take longer than 15 hours or 21 hours or whatever else. Also, another note here, measuring by what semester a placement test puts you in isn't perfect, right? Because even within the same semester, it's different levels, right? Like, if you see the chart here, if you score 269, you're level 1 still. And if you score 0, you're also level 1. But the 269 only needs a few points to be solidly in level 2, whereas someone with 0 points could score 150 more points and still be in level 1. And look, I'm not telling you to not use Babbel or that you shouldn't use Babbel, but what I am saying is maybe don't drop your college language course.